nerd communities.
I am happy that nerddom has gotten so mainstream
It has.
over the last few years, right? I mean, we're dangerously close to being able to say being a nerd is cool.
It is.
Now, when I was growing up, when you were growing up, being interested in the kinds of things we're interested in
Not cool.
was not cool.
Get your ass beat.
And I think that I don't know what causes of anxiety are, but I know that that definitely didn't help.
Yeah.
Right? That you're always outside, you know.
It did help that
looking
I
in.
was a little bit athletic. So, like, I mixed circles between the nerds and the athletes.
Nope.
Dude, I was all over the place too.
I was a choir kid and a horse girl. I was on the full spectrum of nerd. Full spectrum.
So I was in ROTC, honors classes, and D&D. But was also kicking it with cool kids. I had the ability to just fit in.
Yeah. I didn't mention one
So
great
a lot of
way.
folks didn't know how nerdy I was.
It's true. I did forget to mention my hot take on how to make friends in the TTRPG world. Having a tattoo of TTRPG things has helped me immensely. I have a D20 and a skull and a poison vial
So
on my
there's
arm.
never an awkward pause in a conversation. You can just go, look at my tattoo.
No, people come up to me because it's very visible. It's on my forearm. People come up to me like, hey, I love your tattoo. Do you play, Dungeons and Dragons? I'm like, I do. That happens to me usually at least once a week.
You know, John, you were talking about the satanic panic. And so, I lived through that. I was a little older than you when I really got
You
into
lived
D&D.
through the real bad part of it.
So I am still nervous about it, like at work, and
Yeah.
somebody say, oh, you guys are going to Michigan for the weekend? What are you doing? We're going to a gaming convention. Oh, what kind of, and I was kind of like dancing around the thing. And eventually I say, Call of Cthulhu or Dungeons and Dragons. Usually I say, well, role-playing games.
Right.
Or tabletop role-playing games. And you know what? The weirdest thing has happened?
What?
The general that I worked for, when he was asking me about my trip, I said, RPGs. And he said, oh, like Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes, exactly.
And so I'm still like hesitant to tell people exactly what I do. A guy I work with who is very religious and very active in his church. I'm like, he asked a question.
You got to test the
It's
water.
Dungeons and Dragons. You might not approve. He's like, oh, no, my kids are playing that. They love it. And so it's just a whole different world than it
started
was
out
back then.
as wargaming. So,
Yeah. But I think if you start off and you just say TTRPGs to somebody and they chime in with, oh, like that one game, like to me, that's the green light. Even if they don't know what it's called, because that means that they do associate TTRPG with a specific game. Like, and if you have heard enough about a game to know the term TTRPG, you're probably okay. But if you have no idea what I'm
It's like
talking
the
about,
password, right?
right? It's like the gatekeeping
TTRPG.
power.
And if you know what I just said,
Then you're
I
cool.
feel comfortable talking.
Right.
it has gotten to the point where you can say, oh, I'm playing D&D and not actually mean D&D. Like, I have seen people who are playing something else and call it D&D just because it's like Nintendo back in the day.
Right.
Everything is a Nintendo.
Or like Velcro, right?
Yeah.
That's a brand name and other
Duct
folks
tape.
make it. but-
Oreos.
Right. Oreos.
Band-Aids. Yeah.
You can put down a topic for a whole nother stream.
We did
Words.
find a way to work in Oreos this time,
Yeah,
though, so
that's
that's
good.
nice.
Yeah, PV, I say almost every time I talk about Call of Cthulhu or anything else, I'm like, it's like D&D. And that's as far as I can get, because I don't try to explain it. But I get some people who push, and they're like, well, what do you mean it's like D&D? I'm like, oh.
Well, I'm just so glad it's gone more mainstream. And, I attribute Twitch to a lot of that change.
It got it out of people's basements. And
I think
into
it was
media.
a perfect storm of Stranger Things, Twitch, pandemic. Like,
Oh, yeah. Pandemic brought so many people because they had nothing better to do at home. So they were playing online with their friends. It was great.